got the Ali Brotherton. Is that the right way to say it? Educational.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we've got the AAA, which we might amend to the Quad A after this because we can throw accusation audit. It just makes sense.
Love it.
I love that. Then we've got some other I think I want to stay on objection handling because we've got kind of the framework here. I imagine, I've cold called a lot. We'll just say a lot. There are typical responses that I get. I'm curious, what are your kind of top ones? And do you have like pre-scripted ways or insights of handling those?
So I think you can organize them into two different categories. You have your brush off objections, and then you have your legitimate objections. The brush offs are, I'm busy, I'm in a meeting, I can't talk, I'm not interested, sorry, surprise, sorry, who is this? How did you get my number? Things like that. For the most part, I handle those with the I'm busy objection. Yeah, totally. I know I caught you cold. That's a really good phrase. I know I caught you cold. Can I ask just one question to see if it's even worth following up? I use that every single time for almost every single brush off. Even if immediately send me an email. Yeah, I can't send you an email. I know I caught you cold. Can I just ask one question to see if it's even worth sending that email in the first place? You can get around pretty much every brush off with that objection handle.
Magic. We charge for this podcast. I wish I had this 20 years ago. Would have saved me so many awful objection handling attempts. But that's how you get good. I'm sure you've, to get to this level of proficiency, I'm sure can't swear. Well, I guess I can't swear. I'm sure you fucked up enough of your, plenty of cold calls and objection handles where they've gone poorly to kind of get here.
Definitely. Well, it's been useful because I've sold multiple products. So I've sort of, if you're just selling one, you can get good at selling that product, but you might not understand like the actual structure and what the behind the scenes are. I just understand that one value prop, but if you can understand multiple, then you can understand any product is sort of the same. You just got to plug in different variables. It's like a math equation. But on the other side of the objections, it's going to depend on your product, which ones are most common. But budget, competition, I'm not the decision maker, or I'm the wrong person. Let's focus on those three for now. So budget, same thing, AAA, and acknowledge, lead with empathy. And it can be a simple, small little phrase. Yeah, I totally get it, understand. Budgets are always pretty full. Double down on the risk with the budget. The big thing with budget is you're probably concerned you're not going to use it, or you're not going to get the return. So it's going to be wasted money. So bring those concerns up. And then one thing I may add, this one might require a little bit of pre-work, but you would probably want to go to an AE who has heard that objection, before on a deal, budget. Hey, we get budget, and then got budget. How did that happen? And then have that sort of pre-story ready to bring there, almost like a study of how to get around budget, and then call to action. So acknowledge. What was the other A?
Acknowledge, accusation, audit. You double down on the risk.
Exactly. Yeah. Accusation, audit. Add value. Ask questions.
That's a good question.
Which hinge call to action.
So you say you're cold calling me to sell me Orem, and I say I don't have the budget for it. I already use Apollo and another tool that's competing. I can't spend any more on the budget. What's the site?
Totally.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, totally hear it. I hear that all the time, especially in today's economic environment. Plus, you don't want to buy a tool that'll just sit on the shelf, or reps that may not use, especially if you have something already in place. One thing I will add is normally with folks using Apollo and whatever other tool you said, they do usually see like a 2 to 3x increase in volume of conversations, leading to more revenue, of course. So I think it might still be worth checking out if you'd be open to it. I could do like Thursday Thursday or Friday later this week at like 3 or 4, if either of those times would work for you.
I can't help myself, but I was like nodding along. I'm like, yeah, I take the call. I'm like, shit, we already bought.
One call close.
Honestly, I think those are the worst. The one call closes never make it through. I shouldn't say never, but when they close too quickly, they never make it through onboarding, or they're always the pain in the ass company. Anyway,
Yeah,
I love that because they didn't give proper consideration. I know somebody who like fought me all the way through the sales process. I'm like, this person's going to stick forever because we talked about every possible issue. Whereas the guy who's like one call close is going to spend 50, 100 grand in a 30-minute call, I'm like, I'm seriously worried about this.
Yeah, does he know my names?
100%. We had a guy who we were at SaaStr conference, and he signed up and paid at the booth for like a 6-month commitment on like $5K a month, so $30K. That one didn't make it the full length of the engagement.
Yeah, so unsurprising.
Fair. So acknowledge. The one small thing I'll add, people usually see 2 to 3x the volume. And then the question is just your CTA. Is your stuff?
I would just send a call to action. I mean, once you're in the objection, and you already know their current situation, you don't want to keep asking more questions. You're already giving them the positive business outcome they're going to get. They brought up a concern, you quelled it, you ask again. If they bring up another concern, same process. Once you get to 3 call to actions, I mean, it's probably pretty low. You book it, but 3 call to actions is probably where after the third one, it's like, all right, so you can give them a call back later.
I think if you get to 3 call to actions, like 3, you try and handle 3 objections on a cold call, and you're a fucking hero.
One, if you're just able to stay calm and like go through the correct process without sort of making the prospect annoyed, that's a win in and of itself. And if you're actually able to like convey the value and get the prospect to understand that, and at the 3rd call to action to book it, is always an impressive call. But the next objection, that's I think one of the more common ones that's also important, and basically I would almost call it the enterprise objection, is I'm not the right person. Especially in larger companies, there's 15 people that could be involved in a decision. No one necessarily wants to take the risk. They don't see a personal win in even taking a demo. So they're like, I don't want to do it. Is sort of what's going in the back of your mind. And this is from Aaron Melamed, who actually also introduced me to the positive business outcomes idea. But basically what it is same thing, acknowledge. Acknowledge that there's multiple people that would be involved in this decision. Totally understand that, there'll be multiple people involved in this decision. That being said, I do think it would be worth starting with you, especially because you're most likely talking to someone who's not the NDM, and you're like someone lower on the totem pole, because you're closer to the day-to-day in the weeds. So I think you would have some valuable insights there. Not looking to start a sales process or anything, bring the pressure off. Educational, Ali Brotherton, water under the bridge. You'll learn a new tip on my tool, on the industry, etc. Call to action. So to recap, acknowledge there's multiple people involved in the decision. Say, sort of empower them. I think you would be a great person to start with because you're closer to the day-to-day of the people who would actually be using this in the weeds. So your insight would be valuable. And then hinge, call to action.
Hinge, call to action. What is the hinge in this one?
Yeah, so the hinge could be as simple as like, so that being said, so in that case, just a way to get to the call to action so it's a little bit not so awkward, or you just ask a question out of the blue, sort of leading into the question.
Gotcha. And with this one here, you're going with the education approach of like, just, it's the assumptive close.
Yeah. Water under the bridge, worst case scenario, you'll learn something new. it is good to have that sort of pre-prepared as well. So a little tidbit or a little, maybe a stat from a case study or something that they would get valuable, something unique you do on the demo. Doesn't necessarily be big, or something real small that they might like.